Happy Wednesday. Hope all is well. I wanted to be able to do my video for today early before I set the tone for the rest of the day. This question actually was a great one, a very interesting one, because I'm a huge believer you learn a lot more from your failures than you do from your successes. So the question of the day is, what are the worst business advice or advices that I ever actually took? And so what I did is I broke this down into a strategic and a tactical one for you. At a strategy level one, I would say the worst advice I ever took, and it was very much a cultural norm in the 2010s to poo poo the concept of the lifestyle business. At the time, by 2012, I become a partner of Sales for Life. I had a small consultant business. Sales for Life was a sales training business, and we came together. Or sorry, it was a sales recruiting business. We came together and formed a sales training business to be able to offer social selling to the world, kind of pioneering the space. The challenge. It wasn't very long into the growth of the business, and we did a study of every sales training business around the planet. And with the exception of a few, like Franklin Covey and a few others, there was almost not a single entity larger than $40 million. There were hundreds of companies. We actually did this huge analysis. It showed all the hundreds of companies by employee count, by revenue, by social media horsepower. Sales for Life was in the top 10 at one point, the most influential LinkedIn and social media platforms, like from a content perspective, content sharing, social media influence to all of the sales training businesses around the planet. Yet it was still a fraction of the size of some of the largest. But the warning sign was the massive fragmentation of the sales training space or the go to market training space. There were hundreds of players, the vast majority of them under $1 million in revenue. 90% of them would be under 10, not even 90%, 95% of them been under 10 million, with a handful that had cracked the 20, 30, kind of $40 million range. So it was a cottage industry to begin with. And for whatever reason, now our customers were the global enterprise. And this is the height and the acceleration of SaaS software. And every founder I would meet, especially those that are in SaaS with, selling their businesses or scaling and raising capital at 10 times revenue, when a sales training business is valued at 4 to 6 times, 7 times EBITDA, they would say, lifestyle businesses are stupid. What are you doing? Don't waste your time on it. And I think that was one of the worst mistakes I ever made, was trying to grow something that organically was a lifestyle business. The sales training space is filled with lifestyle businesses. And we would reinvest our profits like a madman in the cost of customer acquisition. We would dump, my marketing team at one point was $1 million in spend in a sales training company, between headcount, between paid media, between all, we ran a $250,000 a year conference. It was crazy. Didn't understand the unit economics of the sales training business. This was a $3 to $5 million a year business that could have been a cash cow, easily reaping $1 to $2 million in EBITDA every year into my jeans. But instead, we kept redeploying that capital into every harebrained scheme we could to try to become SaaSified, to try to get to hyperscale, like our customers, every software company was doing at the time. The worst mistake was not understanding that analysis we did at the beginning, that since the history of time of sales training businesses, since the 80s and 90s, they'd all been owned by a few founders. They had grown maybe to a few million, maybe even as big as $10 million. And they could put millions of dollars of EBITDA over extended periods of time into the founder's genes. The reality is a sales training business is one that, as long as your content, your intellectual property wasn't like the topic of the week, and it was more based on a methodology that was sustainable over time, methodologies that you know today, BANT qualification, MEDIC qualification. Um, there's SPICE. These are examples that you would all know right now as qualification criteria. That's one section of sales training. They've been around for 20, 30 years. And so you can build these businesses to be massive cash cows for long, sustainable periods of time. Sales for Life ran for 12 years as a sales training business. Now, it made millions of dollars a year. And there were times where it did reap dividends, beautiful dividends into my pocket. And there were years that it lost money because we were deploying capital as if we were trying to be something we were not. It was the worst decision I ever made. Not reading through the tea leaves, listening to others to say that a lifestyle business sucks. What are you talking about? If you own a $5 to $10 million lifestyle business that kicks off $1, $2, $3 million of EBITDA a year into your jeans, you are living beyond, you are absolutely the 1%, beyond the 1%. You are now in the 0.1%. So don't listen to this poo-pooing of the lifestyle business. That's number one. Number two is tactically. Worst advice I ever got was when I formed my business venture in Sales for Life. I unfortunately was convinced by my business partner at the time that everything had to be, like by the law, had to be the same. So, equity. We needed an equity split. And equity didn't have to waterfall based on contribution, it was just given. Two, salaries. They had to be the same. Three, thus, we would all be through Class A shares and we all had to reap the same dividends. What I've come to learn over time is number one, that equity should be waterfalled. Two, every role and responsibility has a different value creation and has different seasons within the business of different horsepower. The reality is the workload of one founder might be drastically different and the contribution might be drastically different. They don't all need to be paid the same. And three, you don't all have to have Class A shares. You can have different tranches that pay based on different milestones, as some people are revenue contributors and some are basically operating contributors. Again, creating different value in the business. So tactically, I did I bought into this narrative for 10 years. 10 years. Same pay, same equity that wasn't waterfall, just kind of cut from day one, same dividends. Then it wasn't till I took on a mentor that helped me understand that actually that's not best practices. Best practices is you have to earn your equity over time. Best practices is that the CEO potentially is paid dramatically more than the other partners because the contribution and the workload and the reality that they're going to be with that business, even post transaction, long term, they have to be compensated differently. Dividends can be issued differently. I did not know these things. So I hope you found this valuable from a strategic and a tactical level on